What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another State of Affairs video on the King Crusoe YouTube channel. This is the monthly update for February. Now, I know the one for January went a little bit long, a lot longer than I had anticipated and intended for it to be, and I apologize for that. There was plenty of stuff in there that I didn't need to be there. So this one, month 2, going to be a fair bit shorter, and it's organized a lot differently, so hopefully it stays that way. So I'm just not going to say a whole lot more right now and just kind of get into the video. First up, let's talk about the videos that came out last month. What did I get done with seasonal productions in January? Well, 3 episodes of the seasonal podcast came out just as I anticipated. The first episode was the introductions one. It was super fun for me and Lane to record together. It was just 2 guys kind of shooting the crap together. If you want to check that out, I highly recommend that. Like, we had a ton of fun. I want to record more IRL episodes like that with him because it was just really fun to just kind of talk about random crap. So although we do a lot of movie stuff, I want to do more of that with him as well. And just as I kind of hinted there, a lot of what this seasonal podcast is about is reviewing movies and stuff like that. So the other 2 episodes that came out after that introductions one was MCU review, number 1, which we talked about Iron Man, and Star Wars retrospective, number 1, where we talked about The Phantom Menace. Those were fun episodes, and one of those actually corresponded with one of the book binge videos that I did. Speaking of the book binge, there were 5 episodes of that came out in January. Now, which ones were those? I had my 2021 reading wrap-up and TBR, and that includes my top 5 reads, my top 5 favorite things that I read in 2021. So if you're interested in that, go check out that video. I highly recommend it. Then I had reviews come out on The Hobbit, Carrie, and The Wrath of Darth Maul. Like I said, that tied in with the Phantom Menace episode of the seasonal podcast. So go ahead and check that out. And the 5th episode of the book binge that came out in January was my top 15 fantasy series I haven't read yet, but plan to. That video got a little bit away from me. It was more like top 20 fantasy series I haven't read yet, and even then there were still enough things for there to be honorable mentions. So that video is pretty long, but I had a lot of fun talking about a lot of that stuff, and that editing took a little bit longer than all the editing for most videos do, so, I would appreciate if you check that video out, but if not, that's fine too. And then I had one other video come out in January, and that was my December 2021 book haul. It's most of the stuff that I got for Christmas and throughout December in general. So next up, the next section is going to be what writing stuff came out on seasonalproductions.com. If you don't know yet, I'm doing all this YouTube stuff here, but I'm also self-publishing, as technically speaking, on my own website, seasonalproductions.com, if you want to check any of that stuff out. If you want to provide me feedback and just kind of be along for my writing journey as I improve, because I'm still a little bit, I'm still improving. So what came out? Well, there were 5 blogs, all things considered. One of them was on my health and self section of the blog, which was my history with bipolar and mental health. I had 3 music blogs come out, which were my the 2022 albums I'm excited for, the 2021 EP trend in metalcore and deathcore that I thought was super refreshing, and my top 10 albums and EPs of 2021. So if you're interested in any of those, go check those out. But there was also one gaming related blog that came out, which was the 2021 games I enjoyed and more I need to play. That I had a lot of fun writing. I had a lot of fun writing all of these because I just kind of get to talk about stuff that I'm not going to talk about in videos. That's not all that I write, though. Some other things came out in January as well, including my very first short story titled Uninvited. I had a lot of fun with this one, and it kind of focused a lot on like tense and first person, something very different from all the other stuff that I've written up to this point. I had a lot of fun writing it. It's only like 6,000 or so words or something like that, so most people could probably knock that out in, like a half hour, maybe 45 minutes or so, maybe even faster than that. I really enjoyed writing that, like I said. This is where things get a little bit sketch. In my last State of Affairs video, I said that my full novella, In the Mountain Pass, which is a historical fiction piece about the Dyatlov Pass incident, I said that that was all going to come out on the first Wednesday of January. That did not happen. Now, part 1 of In the Mountain Pass came out on the first Wednesday of January, but not the rest of it did. Just the writing process for that novella, it's taken a lot longer than I ever thought it was going to, and it's been a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. So part 1 released that first Wednesday, part 2 posted that next week, which delayed something that I'll talk about in just a few seconds from now. Part 3 still didn't release in January like it was supposed to, so if anybody has happened to read that novella yet, I'm super sorry about that not getting out. We'll get there in just a little bit. Now, aside from the short story and the novella, I also have my first fantasy book, part of a huge fantasy sequence that I'm writing called The Reign of Ash. The first book of the sequence, called Silent Reign, had several things post. The prologue posted in January, as well as the first few chapters. Now, there was supposed to be chapters 1 through 4, one chapter per Wednesday in January. Like I said, getting part 2 up of In the Mountain Pass delayed chapter 2 by a week, actually, which wasn't supposed to happen, but, you know, sometimes life and things like that get out of hand. That's a lot of the reason why things didn't work out, was because of school and life and, you know, other stuff like that. So the schedule overall for that book shifted. So chapter 1 posted, chapter 2 posted a week late, and then chapter 3 just posted last Wednesday. I'm really happy with the way that a lot of that is coming out right now. I really highly recommend reading it and giving me some pointers on how to improve. I know my prose isn't super fantastic at this point yet. I'm trying to work on that, but if there are any other tips or suggestions or anything like that that you want to provide me, please go read those and then leave some suggestions in the comments of those blog posts, because they do have comments. Like I said, I'm super happy with how this is going so far, and I'm looking forward to continue. And then, besides all of that other stuff that came out on seasonalproductions.com, like I said, I'm posting a lot of writing stuff on there. There were also 2 poems that released in January as well. Some of these poems, in fact, the majority of the poems that I've been posting on there at the moment, actually tie in with like hints and lore and kind of stuff like that in Reign of Ash that isn't stated explicitly in the books, or just kind of like give ideas and hints for theories that could happen, you know, later in the series, especially as the whole sequence expands. So I think they're fun. They're really short, like each one is like, you know, less than 100 words, so you can just read them just like that. I'm really enjoying writing those, so go check those out as well. So, now that we've gone over everything that happened in January on the channel and on my website, what is going to happen in February? Well, this section will talk about the videos that are coming out this month. First of all, there are going to be 2 more podcast episodes. I plan for there to be 2 podcast episodes every month, aside from some extraneous circumstances, which you'll hear about in later months, more specifically April, but, you know, that's not for 2 months. We'll get there when we get there. Episode 2 of the MCU review, where Lane and I talk about Iron Man 2, is going to come out on the 4th, so this Friday. And then Lane and I talk about Joker, episode 1 of Miscellaneous Movies. That will be coming out on the 18th, the 3rd Friday of this month. Those are the podcast episodes that come out in February. What about the book binge? As I mentioned in the January State of Affairs video, there's going to be 1 book binge episode every single Monday, for, you know, as much as I can realistically make it happen. So, as a result, there will be 4 episodes of the book binge that come out in February. What are those going to be? Well, on this coming Monday, on the 7th, there will be the January reading wrap-up and TBR video. That will be coming out on Monday. I'm going to be doing one of those on the first Monday of every single month, just the monthly reading wrap-up and TBR. A lot of people really like reading that kind of stuff. I'm going to go over my favorite book that I read in January, you know, other things like that. So if you're interested in that, check that out when it comes out on Monday. You know, subscribe, ring the bell, and you'll never miss any of these videos that come out. On the 14th will be my Fellowship of the Ring review, and then subsequently after that, you'll see a pattern. On the 21st and the 28th will be reviews, book reviews on The Two Towers and Return of the King. So February is kind of a Lord of the Rings month. All 3 Mondays after the reading wrap-up this month are going to be covering the Lord of the Rings. So I'm really excited about those. All those will be spoiler-free, so if you happen to be one of the relatively few people who hasn't read Lord of the Rings yet, you can watch all 3 of those videos and be perfectly fine. You can watch them and decide with even more surety whether you want to start reading Lord of the Rings soon or not. So check those out when they come out. And then another video that will be coming out in February is another book haul, my January book haul and bookshelf tour number 2. I hope to be able to do one of these every single month, but depending on how many books I allot myself to be able to buy each month, it depends on how things are going to work, because I'm trying not to, you know, spend too much money on books right now. Either way, that video will be coming out on the 11th, so the 2nd Friday of this month. And then another series that did not have any releases in January, a critical analysis, which is my my video game review series that I've been doing since 2020. I had like 6 or maybe 7 episodes of that come out in 2020. I didn't get any come out in 2021. I've been working on having more. The final episode of season 1 will be a review on Uncharted 2. That should be out on the 25th, which is the 4th Friday of February. I highly recommend checking that out. Some of the editing is going to be improved. I'm excited to get that out there because then I can move on to reviewing other games in a better format. So now with that out of the way, what's going to be coming out on seasonal productions this month? What writing am I going to be able to do? Well, not as many blogs are going to come out. And this isn't really because I didn't want to write as many. It's because I was never really planning to have one blog come out every single week. That just kind of happened with all the year-end wrap-up type of stuff that I wanted to release in January. But there will be 2 blogs that come out in February. The first one is my thoughts on The Last of Us remake. Expect that to come out on the 6th, which I believe is this coming Sunday. All blog posts that ever come out on seasonal productions are going to come out on Sundays, just so you're aware. Expect that on the 6th. The original plans for thoughts on A Last of Us remake was going to be a video that I recorded all the way back in in April of 2021. That was originally going to be a video. I just never finished editing it. I got too busy during the time that I was working on that and just never got it done. It was also right around the time when the article that the blog is based off of came out. Obviously that never happened, so I decided to adapt the script that I originally made to record a video of it and put it into a blog and post it there. So it's, it's obviously old news at this point, but I wanted to post my thoughts on that anyway. The next blog post that's going to come out after that, which you can expect on the 13th of February, is a music-related blog, and that's going to be every Fit for an Autopsy album ranked. I'm not going to say a whole lot about this here because I want you to read that post. Their new album just came out in the middle of January, though, so I kind of want to talk about their whole discography and how I feel about it in general. So next is going to be the short story for the month. What's the short story that's going to come out? It's going to be called Asylum's Asylum. You can expect that tomorrow. Since this is the 1st of February, it's on a Tuesday. A lot of this writing stuff that's coming out is going to start coming out tomorrow. So expect this short story tomorrow. My focus on Uninvited, which was January's short story, was working on a little bit of the present tense and first person and kind of doing a little bit of writing and that kind of stylistic stuff. My focus on Asylum's Asylum was to work on descriptions and scenery and using words to, spark images in the mind, using a lot of imagery. This is probably one of the most difficult things for me in writing. I'm not particularly great with prose, and because I'm not particularly great with prose, a lot of the scenery and descriptions and stuff that I try to use in books or want to use in books don't really come out. So Asylum's Asylum works a lot on that specifically. So the reason that I'm doing short stories, and particularly doing one short story every single month, is to serve 2 purposes. Like I said, it focuses on trying to improve a specific aspect of my writing. Just like Uninvited was working on present tense and first person, Asylum's Asylum is working on descriptions and scenery. Each short story is to focus on a different aspect of my writing and try to hone in on that and improve it in some way, shape, or form and see what I can do with it specifically. But writing my short stories every month also kind of breaks the monotony of my writing process. If I'm writing one chapter of my fantasy book every single week, well, that can get a little bit tedious at some point. So if I can write a short story every single month, it breaks that monotony and gives me something else to work on. Go read the short stories. Like I said, they're really short. If you want to read that and provide feedback, it would mean a lot to me. It'll help me improve my craft as a whole. You probably got the idea earlier that In the Mountain Pass did not release in full in January. Part 1 was that first Wednesday, Part 2 was the second Wednesday, but then Part 3 never fully came out. Well, now that Part 3 is finally going to be out tomorrow. Just like I said, everything that had to do with the writing of that novella was a lot different than I originally anticipated and wanted it to be. Such as life sometimes. But that will be out tomorrow, so if you want to read all of the novella in one short go, it's like around 25,000 words or so. I can't remember for sure, but that'll be out tomorrow. aside from all of that, 4 more chapters of Silent Rain hopefully will be coming out. As I said, the prologue and chapters 1 through 3 of the book came out in January. Chapters 4 through 7 should be coming out in February, respectively, tomorrow on the 9th, the 16th, and the 23rd. We'll see if, my busy work schedule and school and stuff interferes with this too much. I don't like it to. I want the release of Silent Rain chapters to be the very last thing that my real life stuff kind of ruins. But I'm going to try to get those 4 chapters out. I admittedly wish I had been able to write all the way through chapter 4 in January, because that would have been a perfect arc to just have, written and wrapped up in January. But you'll be able to finish the very introductory arc in chapter 4 tomorrow, and then you'll be able to start the main journey of the story in chapter 5 after that. So go check those out. Like I said, I'm really happy with the way that these are coming out. With the way that they're turning out, they're a lot better than I was hoping that they would be, and I was hoping for them to be at least decent. So even if they're not like Brando Sando quality or anything like that, there's something that I'm really proud of. And then there will be 1 poem that comes out as well. You can expect this on the 6th. Poems as well as blogs will always also come out on Sundays. So like I said, there will be 1 poem that releases in February. This will be called K-Sod Visaged Arbor. This title is going to make no sense until you kind of put some pieces together. This one ties heavily into the Reign of Ash sequence, and probably will be something that a lot of people don't figure out until they're kind of deep in the series with several books. But this one does tie in very heavily. Go read that. It's also the longest poem that I've released on the website so far. It's still short, probably just a couple hundred words, if that. Maybe 100 words if I were to guess. Really short stuff. Go check that out on the 6th when that comes out. That's basically everything that I had to talk about. So sorry about the screwed up writing schedule. Sorry that In the Mountain Pass didn't really work out the way that it was supposed to, and that chapter 2 was delayed of Silent Rain, and that kind of shifted the entire schedule. Like I said, work kind of complicated things because of the scope of the projects that I had to do, and starting school semesters always sucks, but this time it was way worse than normal, which says a lot because I was already expecting this one to be really bad, and it happened to be worse. Either way, now that I'm getting into this groove of kind of doing all of this stuff as well as work and school, this month should be better. Either way, I appreciate anybody and everybody who stuck around for this video and sticks around throughout everything that I do. So if you're excited for any of this, let me know down in the comments. Obviously, like the video, subscribe, ring the bell, all the YouTube stuff. seasonalproductions.com. If you want a backlog of all the YouTube videos and all of the writing stuff, you can bookmark that and then just have one place where everything exists. And yeah, I've always got good stuff in store, so this is the end of the February update. I'll be back again on the 1st of March with an update. Then, after all these videos come out, make sure to check everything out because I really would appreciate the support. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll be back again in the next video.